Javier would be playing the client.
Good evening, class. My name is Melissa, and I'm going to be presenting to you a theory which is person centered counseling, and I'm going to be the therapist. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, go ahead, have a seat. So, I hear you have some things you want to share?
Yes, actually, I was just very concerned about my family back home in Puerto Rico.
Okay, go ahead, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I just think the environment that they're living in and I grew up in is not the best. So, I plan to get my PhD, and move to Florida to pursue it to give them a better life.
Okay, so you're concerned about your brother, obviously. In some sense, you're concerned about your mom as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, and you're hoping that you move back to Florida as quickly as possible.
Right.
Okay, so you can help them out.
Right. My mom has done so much for us and sacrificed so much for us. It's the least I can do. It's just time for her to relax. I think, if everything works out on my plans, that you'll be able to provide that for her.
So in a sense, you want to give back to your mom.
Of course I do.
And it's normal because she's done so much for you.
Of course, I just want to be there for her. And back in Puerto Rico, I think it's getting more difficult as time goes on.
So it sounds like things are getting worse and worse over there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I guess I'm hearing in some way that there's an urgency that you're feeling.
Absolutely. Each day goes by, it doesn't get any better, and I just really don't want my brother to get into more trouble than he already has. So yes, there's absolutely urgency for me to get them out as soon as I can.
Okay. So the urgency of both helping your brother and your mother and getting them to Florida, it seems like if you go to Florida, it would be easier from there.
Yes, because in a lot of ways, Florida is similar to Puerto Rico, similar to their environment without, all the extra stuff that's going on that they're living in.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So, not just that, I recently went to a 25th high school reunion, and I found out that a lot of my high school mates are already in Florida. So actually, even though I've never been to Florida, more of my friends and family are already there. So, that'll be very good for us.
So in a sense, you feel more connected to Florida, even though you've never really lived there.
In a weird way, yeah.
Okay. And it feels also like the environment that's there is closer to the environment that you grew up with.
Yes, this time it was kind of when I went back to Puerto Rico, it was kind of shocking the first time I realized, I won't go back. That's my home, that's where I lived all my life.
Okay, so it kind of hit you when you went back the last time and you weren't going to move back there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And I guess up until that point in the time, you were thinking that might be something you would like to do.
Yes, I mean, that's home. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
So, like, realizing that going back home is not a real option, reality's hitting, it's starting to be really challenging.
So I would guess that taking that feeling of home out of your life must be pretty hard.
Correct. And the little that I've achieved to this point, I don't think it's complete without the opportunity to get them out of there and start fresh.
So you're not going to feel complete unless you move to Florida and help your mom and brother, who's have been having some kind of issues.
Yes, especially with things getting worse every time. And actually, today's gonna be buried with my friend, a very good friend of mine. We all grew up together, and once again, it's just the environment. I mean, it's not necessarily he was involved in stuff, just an environment. He's just another casualty that happens all the time. It's sad to say.
So you're going to a funeral of a friend of yours?
Yes, I won't be able, but today is the funeral back home.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, my mom called me and she told me about this, and that reminds me of a real sense of urgency to actually do what I need to do to get them out of there as soon as possible.
So somehow the death of this friend of yours is making it more present or more urgent in a sense for you to do something to help your mom and your brother.
Yes, and it really worries me, and I talk to my mom every Sunday, religiously every week. How she's doing, how he's doing. He's still running around. I try to help. I try to do the best I can. He's been living with my mother for several years, and his progress is in the same cycle. It's not furthering. He has no goals. Just stuck in the same environment.
So you're feeling like it's a life or death situation for him.
Sad to say that it may come down to that, and I'm trying to avoid that. It's likely with his last name. He's younger than I am, but when he stands to me, he looks a lot older. It really makes it worse.
So his lifestyle is really draining the life out of him. And again, I hear you love them, and I hear your concern about them, and I hear the urgency again that you have, that you're feeling like you need to do something.
Absolutely. I mean, that's my family. I have to do something for them, and I'm the older. We grew up with this, in a single family home. I feel like that role has come down on my shoulders, that I need to be able to, I have an opportunity to do so. I'm gonna do so and take them out of that environment.
Of course. Yeah. And being the older, you feel some more responsibility and for taking care of both of them, of your mom and your brother.
Correct. I mean, he's a really hard worker. I know if I'm able to get him out of there and moved here, he will adapt, and he will do very good, and won't have that choice working next to a bar. There's a bar every 10 feet, that's where they are.
Oh, wow. So I think one of those things I'm hearing also is the tug, that maybe that internal tug of your feelings between the things that you need to finish up here and also the things that you need to take care of them.
Right.
Okay. And moving to Florida, that must be a real struggle for you.
It is. I feel in order for me to be able to make more effective and help them out, it'll be something that I really want to do, go for my PhD. But I think if I'm able to do so and accomplish it, it would be I'll be in a more well position to help them out in any way I can. But that would just take me a few years to do so.
And do both of those things.
Correct.
So if you get your PhD, you're in a better position to help them. But on the other hand, if you get your PhD, you're waiting and you don't really want to wait too long.
Definitely.
Well, it sounds like what I'm hearing is your concern for your family and your desire wanting to help them. It's in my best way possible to help you. You have a lot of important choices to make for yourself, and they're pretty difficult choices because people's lives are in stake.
Right. Correct. Basically, it's just weighing on me. I'm hoping that I'm making the right decisions, the right, thing to do. Every day that's my decision, and I'm doing the right thing.
So I guess you're kind of seeing me here, thinking maybe that I have a solution for you to the decisions that you need to make, or maybe telling you what's right or wrong. But at the same time, I'm thinking you're the only one who has the inner sense of what's right and wrong for your family.
I really think I'm the one who should arrive to that decision. I think I'm in a position where I can, not just to balance the decisions, but also know the details of the situation. I grew up there. I definitely know how it is there.
And at the same time, I hope that maybe I can be helpful to you to look at your own feelings and what you have inside that will help you direct you to the right decision. And maybe that's something we can do here and talk about it.
Absolutely, just getting the opportunity to talk to somebody and to hear their feedback has helped me a lot, and I know it'll be very helpful.
Well, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your feelings, and I really hope to seeing you next week and hearing all about your decision.
Absolutely,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Have a good day.
No problem.
So as we can see, that was an example of a person-centered counseling, which the founder was Carl Rogers. And he basically believed that we were critical, congruence, unconditional positive reward, and empathy. So basically, this therapy is more based on being transparent with each other, sharing feelings, somehow the behaviors of the therapist and the client come in sync. It's more of expressing and leading your client to their own solution, basically. So as you can see, the therapist wasn't saying much, but it's because you're kind of motivating the client to speak more and tell you more about their problem and how they feel. And you're just basically repeating what they actually told you, so that way they can see that you're actually listening to them and you feel empathy and showing your feelings. And you kind of saw in the example of Javier and the therapist that she was really interested in what he was saying, and like, yeah, you want to help your mom, and I understand that, and stuff like that, which makes the client feel more, I guess, in a sense of maybe compassion that you have towards him, and that you're understanding him, and that you really care of what he's trying to tell you. So that was basically my experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see everyone else.